Digression.
No. I'm not having it.
I mean, is it food we're talking about?
Definitely.
It's very juicy.
Come on.
But I'm just stating facts.
What were we talking about?
What's up, guys? Salut. My name is Alex and I make food videos on YouTube.
Hello, my name's Josh and I help Alex to create food videos on YouTube.
Hello, Josh. How are you, man?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. So, recently we had a chat about you slowly changing your cooking habits. And I'm talking about not a changing things on a whim, but more like a deep transition that's happening on your side. Can you tell us more about what's happening?
Well, I've got to say, I think it started probably with making bread, which we've talked about before.
Yes.
I think, because this is the thing, I can see a little smirk there on your face and a little...
There's no smirk on my face. There's a wide grin.
A little getting ready to see if there's any opportunities here to take the mic, but we shall see. It started with bread,
I'm always
I think,
ready.
because, you know, you make your own bread and then you don't just eat the bread by itself, do you? In a lot of senses, the bread is either an ingredient or a side to a meal that you're having. So whether, you know, sandwiches, toast, or then you're using it on the side to scoop up a bit of sauce
Makes
from
sense.
something.
Makes
Many
sense.
different things. In a sense, I think a lot of people in the West would think of bread as an ingredient, right? Rather than a meal in itself. So it started with bread, but then also with sort of fermentation things, whether that's sauerkraut or kimchi or hot sauce, and then progressing on from that to making things like miso and soy sauce and other things in that realm. Pestos, wild garlic pestos, forage things like that, drying mushrooms that I've found, turning them into powders, which can then be turned into salts or flavouring agents that go into a bigger thing. And
So
essentially,
you're going to the root, right?
yeah, essentially. So out of a curiosity of how things are made, decided to go further into the side of making ingredients instead of meals. Now, that's not to say I never make meals, because as you can see, I'm not the world's thinnest man. But I'm more interested in making ingredients.
Makes
I don't
sense.
know when that's happened.
Because otherwise, it would make for very interesting dinners, right? Honey, come to the table. I made salt and miso. What a feast it's gonna be.
But listen. Okay, so that could even that I would say. Here's the thing: my ideal meal, which I've never had yet. I've got very close to it. But my ideal meal, and once I've eaten this meal, I'm just going to expire and transcend into the heavens, right? That'll be it. I'll have done. Is a meal that I eat off of a plate that I have made, right?
Okay.
With a knife that I have forged.
Yes.
And all of the ingredients that are on there have either grown or fermented.
And that meal would be enjoyed with a portrait of yourself. That you've painted yourself.
Yeah. On a canvas that I have woven from fibres on my own being. I'll have grown my hair long. And then
a house that you've built.
Exactly. You get the picture. You understand.
Where is everybody else?
Huh?
Where is everybody else? Like
Look,
pandemic or what?
They can join in if they want, but they've got to bring
it's
they've got to bring their own things to the table. You know, they got to paint their own portrait.
What a world you live in. What a dream. Great. Sorry.
No. It's
Go
fine.
on.
So yeah, obviously there's an element of this which is ridiculous. I appreciate that, but I derive immense joy from doing things from scratch to the biggest nth degree that I can. And you could take the mick out of me, my friend, but I know you've got a similar element in there, Mr. 10-episode ramen series.
Yes.
We know that you've got the same thing.
Yes.
And actually, ramen's a good example of this, what I'm talking about. All right, you don't have to grow the wheat. You don't have to grow the wheat, but make the noodles yourself. If you make the noodles yourself, you've gone to the trouble of making the stock that the broth's going to be derived from, making a tare, and then thinking about the toppings that you're going to have on it. When you put that meal together, the joy that you get out of knowing where every little bit kind of came from, I feel like there's more satisfaction in that than if you just go out and buy all the separate bits and then put it together yourself at home.
For sure.
Because essentially, and this is maybe a term that I would use for it, modular cooking maybe, or something like that. When you get a bowl of ramen at a ramen yar or a ramen shop or whatever, it's very quick. It's like what? A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes from ordering to actually getting a bowl of ramen. And that's because all the ingredients that go together to make that meal, they've already made and they've got ready to go. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that takes the time is the boiling time of the noodles. Everything else is ready. So I got thinking about this way of cooking because I've been reading a recipe book by... it's called Bone Daddies, which is a ramen-based restaurant in London. And every single recipe that you get in there is kind of like, okay, for example, use the kimchi tare. See page 139. So then you go and look at that tare, and then there's a recipe for making that. And then it will say, use the soy marinated egg as a topping. See page 113 or whatever. And then that's got a recipe for those things. So it's almost like by the time it gets to the bowl, it's a list of other recipes. Okay. Do you understand what I'm getting at here?
Yeah. It seems like a very charming book. Loads of references on one page. Then you just have to flip through pages. But I'm understanding that there's a joy, there's a satisfaction, there's something almost meaningful to making the ingredients you use then to cook a meal yourself.
Sure, absolutely. It's a little bit like, I could give you some analogies for this as to where the joy would derive from. Look, if you work a lot and your priority is, or you've got a family that you've got to look after, and the main point is just getting delicious food on the table, right? Then you perhaps don't have time for all this, and you're maybe not concerned with it. But this is something that I guess for me has come out of when I do have free time. I want to spend that time sometimes nerding around with food, geeking out on a particular thing.
Yes,
it's a little bit like you're a guitarist, you love playing the guitar, but you want to go a step further and you do a Brian May and you make your own guitar. Or, somebody who begins to make their own tools or something when they're, if they're a maker of some kind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, understood. That's definitely understood. I do, however, fail to see where this is going, though, to be honest. Because I can relate to everything you said. I think it speaks to me very much. I'm definitely into this as well. Although time being of the essence these days,
is it?
Am I using the right expression? I'm not entirely sure, but I just meant that time is very precious.
Sure.
Is it time of? Is it?
Time is of the essence. The problem with you saying that, you're indicating that there is something that I have to get done, that I have to work towards, that I have to achieve.
Okay. So I just meant that I have much less free time than I used to.
Sure.
So making the ingredients that I could then be using to make the food, if that's not for work, I'm hardly gonna do that at home. So that's an idea that speaks to me, but I fail to see how practical it can be on the long run.
Oh, it's not practical.
Yeah, it's not meant to be practical.
It's not meant to be practical at all.
Yeah, it's not meant to be practical. But even further than practical, I fail to see how doable it could be. Because I'd love to do that, but if I got to do the plate, the knife, the forks, and the meal and the salt, I'd love to do that. I'd love to make salt, man. Well, very much.
Here's the thing. Let's think about this on a sliding scale, right? So let's say that I go, all right, on the one end, on the absolute ridiculous end, there's me with my portrait of myself having a nice romantic candlelit dinner with wax that I foraged from a bee's hive myself, right? For the candles. There's that end of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Complete narcissistic, overindulgent, egoistic, whatever, right? We're right at that far end. Let's come in a little bit. Let's come in a little bit from that end of the scale to a little bit further in. And that is that somebody else has made the plate. Somebody else has made the other things that are around it. But they're people that I know. And I've gone, okay, look, I love the food bit. You're good at doing this bit. Whether that's, I don't know, carving a spoon or crafting a bowl out of something. I don't know, whatever. Why don't we sort of work together with that? You can do some things, and I'll do the food side of it.
Like some sort of a trade or what?
Could be a trade. Yeah, we're just working off that. Now, I'm gonna go right to the other end of the scale, okay? Which is a little bit how I see modern life. A little bit right at the other end of the scale, where I spend all of my time working, and I don't spend any time involved in food at all. No time except for eating it, and I hand off that element of my life to petrol station forecourt that makes sandwiches, McDonald's, maybe a nice restaurant every now and then.
Mephistopheles. Yeah. To Beelzebub or to the devil himself.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah.
Mr. Capitalism, the big one, right?
The big
I hand all that off to him and say,
yeah. You're in safe hands. You're in good hands.
And he says to me, you know what? He says, look, don't worry about making yourself dinner. I'll make you dinner. I've got it covered. Whatever you want, I'll get it for you. You just work and pay me the money. And I say to him, but what about the portrait of myself that I want to eat dinner with? He says, look, don't worry about that. Here's a mobile phone. Take a selfie. Right? I've got a screen that you can buy. Spend your money on this thing. Work more. Spend your money on this thing. Get the screen up. The big TV. You can eat your dinner in front of the TV with a picture of yourself on it.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, you slowly shifted, but at the beginning, your devil chef sounded a little like Gennaro Contaldo. Take a little of what you want. I gotta feed you good. I mean, if Gennaro Contaldo is cooking for you, you would be in good hands. Yeah,
I'd step out of the kitchen in that case.
Yeah.
If Gennaro Contaldo's coming up,
but I understand what you're saying. Okay, so there must be something better than that terrible situation, terrible picture you just depicted. Yes.
There's as always, there's a middle path. There is always a middle path between these two things. And I'm not saying that... I guess what I'm saying is that I feel sometimes like we have such busy lives, we have such... everything has a value and an urgency and a time-based cost on everything, that sometimes it's nice to do something that other people say, why would you do that? It's so time-consuming and pointless.
I like the idea, man. I love the idea, but you have to sacrifice something for it.
Sure. Time.
You have to sacrifice something else, I think.
Friends.
Exactly. Like, for example, got a small family of my own, but still a family. And I can't see how I could be, for example, making miso for them.
Let me offer you an alternative vision of this then.
Go
Something that I
save my soul.
I am looking for currently, and have not managed to find fully, but have started. I'll get to this in a minute, but here's my ideal vision. So instead of me slaving away by myself with no friends, growing my koji and keep
your ivory tower.
Exactly. The better idea is, and this may be something in these days of isolation that we are slowly coming out of that might be possible, is to get together people and do, because for a project like miso that's going to take 6 months to ferment, why not get everybody there, have a day where you do the thing, like a workshop type thing.
That would be amazing.
You turn up, you learn about the thing, or somebody knows a bit more than you do, or somebody else knows something. Maybe one person's got this ingredient, someone else has got that.
Listen,
you get together.
Have you watched The River Cottage with Hugh Fairley-Whittingstall?
Yes.
Especially the very first episode where he moves out. So Hugh Fairley-Whittingstall, that British TV presenter, amazing guy. It's an old TV show. I think it's at least 20 years old, maybe, or 15 years old.
Yeah.
Moves to the countryside from the hustle and bustle of London, and then starts a new life and tries to do everything by himself, more or less. And there's an example of exactly what you said. So he raises porks. I don't know if you raise pork, but I think you raise pork.
You raise pigs, you eat pork.
So he raises pigs, and then obviously comes the moment where they are slaughtered, which is a very painful moment for the guy, but that's not exactly where I'm going. At the moment where they are slaughtered, he basically gathered his entire community around.
Yes.
He's got a friend who knows how to make sausages. He's got a friend who knows how to make black pudding.
Yeah.
Another one is just helping with the cuts, just to make sure that they don't waste anything, that they make the most out of it. It is a painful situation, especially for him. For the pig mostly, but for him as well on that day. So we just want to make sure that nothing goes to waste. Like into the wild when the guy spilled, that deer at the end.
Oh yeah, sure. The film Into the Wild, where he kills a deer or a moose or something. Then he's trying to work out how to preserve it, and
Exactly.
it goes rotten and the flies. Yeah,
It doesn't have a community basically. And you
Exactly.
said that would be great to have a community and to organize a workshop and to have everybody gathering around on one specific day and everybody's helping to. Because otherwise, it might be complicated to do this on your own. It's impossible, in fact.
Well, listen. Here's the thing. I do actually have some of this. You're gonna laugh at this. I do actually have. There is an element of this that already happens that I've just thought of, but it's all to do with alcohol, right?
It's great. Obviously.
So every year, me,
Drink.
my housemate, and a couple of other friends, we
Meat
meet at our house.
in a house.
And people bring apples that are either from their garden or that we've foraged, right?
Okay.
And we bring bags and bags of apples. Now, I've got a cider press, okay?
Wow. Okay.
So there's, 6 or 7 of us or whatever, and we
It's
spend a day crushing up the apples, putting them in the cider press, turning the thing, you get the apple juice out of it.
Amazing.
We take all the apple juice from there and then put that into demijohns or fermentable buckets or whatever, and everybody takes home
One.
their share of the thing, which if they want, they could just drink it as apple juice if they're not that into drinking, or they can ferment it into cider, whatever. But because...
out of curiosity, just a super quick digression.
Yeah, sure.
Do you add yeast or does it just benefit from wild yeast?
I've tried both. And so with specifically with cider, I've had... Because the other thing you got to bear in mind is the yeasts come from the skins of the apples, and it depends where those apples were, what variety they are, etc., etc., etc. So one year I did it and got absolutely amazing results. A really complex, flavourful, strong, fizzy cider that was absolutely delicious, really good.
Great.
The next year I did it, absolutely terrible.
Oh man.
So here's the thing. You don't have to... Oh, no, it's okay. I'm over it. So you don't have to put yeast in, but if you do, you get a more reliable result.
Maximize your chances. Okay, so go on.
I've had the same experience recently with beer. Now, beer, if anything, is even more labour intensive, I would say, because it's more complicated and there's more sanitising and whatever. Now, there was only 2 of us doing it recently, but that's mainly because of the lockdown restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
But I can quite see... in the future, once we've got a better idea of how to do it, brew day becoming a thing that I get some friends over, we all help to make the brew, and once it's fermented, they come back for bottling day, we bottle up, and people take home their share of what they've done.
That sounds amazing.
And in fact, we have found locally that there's a craft beer club of people that basically they do exactly that, but there's more than one brew going on. So they all get together in a big space and make lots of different beers, and then people take home different beers.
That's amazing, man. I can definitely. I can see an interest in this. I would love to be part of something like this. And by the way, I could easily see Brew Day being a bank holiday in the UK.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think more people would be interested in brew holiday instead of bank holiday. The banks they don't need more holidays.
Exactly. They don't need holidays. They got plenty. They got money. They can go wherever they want. Brew Day, we need more of that. I would love to be part of a club like this. I should probably try and see if such thing exists nearby. I'm living in a city. I'm living really in Paris, more or less. So I doubt it. Because we would need space for it, I think. And also, what about the apples, for example? When you mentioned the cider making experience, cider pressing experience, you say everybody brings apples. Where do the apples come from?
Well, like I said, either they have got an apple tree in their garden, or there's plenty of apples grow everywhere here, wild. You can find in the right season. You can.
Yeah, but the small ones, the sour or the tart one, no?
The
Which
thing
might be
is,
even better.
Well, look, here's the thing: to get a nice cider, you want a balance of super sweet, tart, different things. So that's actually, a lot of the time, it kind of helps. Let me float another idea. Maybe something that you actually. This does happen. This modular cooking that I'm talking about, where basically you bring, you have different ingredients that you've made or whatever that you bring together, and then it creates something that's bigger than the sum of its parts.
Amazing.
Pizza day. Now, I've only just thought about this, but I do this all the time. As in that whenever, especially with lockdown, once we now have an allotment of... Actually, I think it's more than this now, but for a while it's been 6 people can come round to your garden, and that's fine.
Yes.
So I've had 2 or 3 of these whereby I go, okay, guys, I'm going to make the dough and the sauce. If you want to bring different toppings... You can make something, or we can try something else, or you can bring a bit of something that maybe you want to put in the pizza oven. We could make a calzone, whatever.
It's amazing.
Bring some things. And everybody turns up, brings a bit of something, and then we all decide once we're there, okay, what's going on this pizza? What do we want to try next? Okay. Shall we do a weird dessert pizza? Or, should we do something that's a bit left field or whatever? So,
that's nice.
Actually, I think that's the thing. I know I'm saying this thing about eating a meal that I've made everything myself and my portrait of myself, but
it's
you're
probably
right.
Gonna be the title of the podcast. Maybe
it's too labor intensive to do everything yourself.
Yeah, and also I fail to see the value in all this. As much as I love the process of understanding how things work, I love the idea of friends. You got me with friends in your story, I think. The ideal of having made or produced everything that's on the table yourself. That sounds nice, but I would rather have my friend bringing the plates.
Sure, yeah.
That would be nicer, because then the plates wouldn't be exactly as I would expect them to be. So I would have to collaborate with that guy to just make it work. He made the plate way too small for a pizza. What an asshole. So, sorry about that cursing. I don't know if you want to please that.
We'll leave that in. I'm all right with arsehole.
But I'm just thinking it would be more fun, I think, to just have but it doesn't go against the idea that you've expressed of having workshop. I'm wondering now. You planted a seed, I think, because I'm wondering if my friends would be down for like maybe a brewing day or a cider day or something else day, pizza day, because with cider and brewing they all bring something back to their place, which I like very much.
But that's a nice idea, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice idea, because it's like we make something and then you can use it for like 6 months afterwards. We make miso together, we make salt, we make soy sauce, all these processes take more than 1 day, but it's
well, it's actually made me think that's actually because I'm now at a point with making miso that I know I think is the easiest of the koji based fermentations. It'd be interesting if I said to people, look, anybody who's interested who I know in my sort of friendship group, would anyone be up for doing a day where basically you come to mine, we will make a miso, I'll have already made the koji that's going to go in them, bring a legume or a bean or a pea that you find interesting, and we'll make a miso out of that.
That's amazing.
And then everybody can take home a little jar of each different one to ferment, and we'll see, how that works.
How many people? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it might be a thing that's just worth floating, but to me, it sounds like a nice way to sort of spend a day. And at the end of it, you do have something, like I said, that you could use.
Could be a website almost. Sorry, my startup mind is kicking in, but I can see a Google map.
Nice. Go on, elaborate.
With like little hubs around. You geolocate yourself on the website. You don't have to, because you have to accept the cookies, but if you do, then you share your location, and then it says, well, around you there are 5 hubs. Like this Sunday at Joshua's house, a little privacy there somewhere. A brew day is being organized, or a miso day is being organized. Do you want to be part of it? Yeah, I'd love to. Let's just hop in. And Josh is charging for this. Well,
no.
How much is he charging?
Whoa.
He's charging 20 quid.
Hang on.
What a rip-off.
Hang on. Whoa, Mr. Capitalist.
No.
Here he is again, Beelzebub, the devil. Don't you worry. I'll take care of it. I'm going to make you dinner for you.
Who's paying for the website and the bandwidth?
Look, listen, don't worry. We'll sort that out. We'll do something. You heard of Free Cycle before? You know what Free Cycle is?
Yeah. I've seen that. That's amazing.
Could be like that. A thing that's set up.
No, but I'm taking the piss. But I think it could potentially be something that would be where internet would make like a.
I like it.
Yeah, it would make it easier to organize.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then it wouldn't be with friends. It would be with like people in the same state of mind as yours.
exactly. But
which is good.
You might. The thing is, I think as well, if there's one way to meet new people and really connect with them, it's have a shared passion, and that's like that's the easiest way I think to meet somebody and to really get on with them because you've got a point of connection already, and you're trying to achieve the same thing.
Do people need to have like prerequisite skills? Do people need to be skilled in advance? Or
I don't think so. I don't think there should be. I mean, it depends what you're going to make, and like maybe make it. There should be maybe somebody that's kind of leading the workshop, the thing. But I think if you're gonna maybe what you could do is if you were gonna put a post up. I love that we're creating this idea for this future utopia. By the way,
yeah.
If you're gonna put a post up, you could say, for example, all right, what's a difficult one? Like we could do a beginner's workshop, sauerkraut or fermenting cabbage or whatever, right? That's a real easy one, but we get together, do a big bunch of it, we take different bits home, whatever. Intermediate miso making, or if it's something that's going to be like, for example, if we're going to be making koji or something, then it might be that you say this is a little bit more advanced. You can come along if you want, but
that would work. Maybe that thing already exists on the web.
It's got to somewhere. It's got to do somewhere.
I would love to be part of something like this. It would be amazing because then you would also would just be the perfect way to meet people that are in the same mindset as yours. I wonder which club I would join.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. So let's just assume that this thing is
on.
Is on, right? You're scrolling through online and you're looking for something to go to.
What's the name of the website?
I'm trying to think because there's like, well, look, it's about a something day, isn't it? As in, like you've got miso day or brew day or, and it's like a group
day.
Food. I don't know if it should be like food camp or something.
Food camp. Okay, let's call it food camp. That's amazing. I like it. Food camp. I connect on food camp, and then which hub, which day should I?
All right, I'm gonna let me throw some examples out that I can think of.
Go for it.
Enrolling now for participants in a croissant.
This is the beta version. I'm in
a croissant making course near you today. We've got croissant making, jam making, kimchi making course, bread making course. We've got a cider pressing day, beer brewing day, miso, soy sauce. What else have we got? I'm only think of
some of these clubs already sound a little snobby to me.
Well, do we need something easier?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't join the croissant club.
No,
the croissant club is going to be annoying because there's going to be a pastry chef saying everything needs to be done by the gram. If you don't do it by the gram, it's not going to work. I would join the jam club. The problem is, I'm afraid that it's going to be all grammars.
What about this?
Which could be cool, but
let's do something a bit more different then. What about like a bao bun making day? So you go along, you make a big batch of dough wrappers and all the filling that's going to go in the baos, and at the end of the day, you get the big steaming baskets out and you make a big batch of.
Not bad, but I would go for something for the long run more, like either miso, soy sauce, cider. The cider guys, they must be fun to be hanging around with.
Oh man, the cider guys are always drunk.
Yeah,
they're always having fun.
It's mildly drunk because it's still cider.
Oh man, you cider. You get the right cider, it's absolute loop juice.
So yeah, but that's the thing in the UK, because in France most of cider just never goes past like 3-4 ABV.
Down in the southwest, which is where cider is kind of most common in this country, so towards Bristol and that area, there are bars that sell only cider, right? And you can get a range from a 3% cider that's quite light and fizzy and summery. To a 15% cider that's bright orange. It looks like orange juice, and they have one pint, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah, but I can see the spirit being lifted up a little more in that club, in that hub.
I feel like it's well, I've already done it. I know it's a fun day. So this is what I'm going to say to you, Alex. Here's an open invitation, right? It's a long way for you to come. But next time we have cider making day, get on the train all the way up to Leeds.
Yeah, when is it?
Well, I don't know. It depends when the apples are out. It probably
how am I supposed to organise myself then?
Yeah, difficult. Or, maybe I can give you some hints and tips for setting up your own. How's that?
Could. I'm really tempted. I'm just wondering, would my friends who are not really into either the food industry or the food world in general be interested in joining me in a whole day doing cider? They could. But it would require a lot of organization my end.
Here's what I'll tell you though. If people do it, and they drink the cider that they've made themselves, they will almost definitely appreciate it.
I'm sure of it.
No matter how it turns out, sort of thing.
No, it makes sense. It's like instant gratification, instant satisfaction. And then the fact that they done it, they're gonna be bragging about at their dinner party, family party. Oh, I did cider.
Well, look, man. Community Brew Day. It's food for thought, but I like that. And actually, I've come from saying I want to do everything myself to actually doing a 180 and saying, no, I don't want to do everything myself. I want to do more things in a community setting.
I like it. The podcast is just making
involved.
it better. We're getting better thanks to this podcast as well. We're sharing ideas. Foodcamp.com/Josh. That's the coupon code.
Yes, that would be the coupon code. I mean,
that's foodcamp.com/Josh and get 10% off your next purchase of a cider press or a fermentation jar.
Well, that was the thing, yeah. So the actual courses themselves are free, but in order for us to make money, if you do click on one of the affiliate links, we do get paid in part from the cider press company.
I like it, man. Let's just leave it like a free utopian idea. I like it.
I like it very much. All right.
Thank you, man, so much for this.
No worries. I'm going to get cracking on the website, and I'll speak to you next time.
Have a good one, man. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Bye-bye.